Hello and welcome to the most chaotic, exciting and expensive weekend of my life here at Cadwell Park. In this video, I'm going to run through the best bits of my weekend during the round 3 of the F1000 Championship, where I had not one but 2 crashes. I also had my best 2 finishes in racing and 1 driver of the weekend. This track is a bike track and the blind crested corners and super tight racing made for a really good viewing. And I wasn't the only one to find the barriers. So let's take a look what happened. Testing on Friday was critical as most drivers hadn't driven Cadwell before, and the last time F1000 was here in 2019. Oh yeah, and I got a new visor cam. As my GoPro is so smooth, I thought this would be a better way to watch and feel the full speed, intensity and bumps on track. Unfortunately, these aren't allowed in the race, so here are just a couple of clips from testing. You can also see the crash from my view.
Jesus Christ.
As you can see, it was a wild ride. Turn 1 is the fastest corner on the circuit, hitting speeds of 130 miles an hour flat on the throttle. Unfortunately, my front stub axle snapped whilst entering the corner. My front wing got mangled, but otherwise the car was fine. After some precision engineering, I made the final session to ensure she'd run well for quali the next morning. That evening, I took a track walk and found some missing pieces. Saturday morning rolls round and it's qualifying. I only go and manage to stick it P10, which is the highest I've started in F1000 so far, with only decent drivers ahead of me. And the green flag lap, we managed to stall it again. Now I'm absolutely convinced that there's something wrong with this clutch. So we get going and we're having to get past and weave back through into the correct position. At Cadwell it's not easy, it's such a thin track. Stalled it again, but managed to get going pretty quickly, only losing 4 positions from the start. Here I'm giving Dave Williams of Nitrous Cars a good fight. Don't forget you can win a season in F1000 with Nitrous competitions by clicking the link in the description and entering. No, I'm not sponsored by them, although open to sponsorship. I just want more people on the grid so we can have more battles next year. As you can see, the battle continued all the way through lap 1. Right on the back of Dave, into the mountain section, getting really close. It's a really difficult track to overtake. What we're really doing here is waiting for the final turn to get on the main straight. As we go through Hall Bends here, you'll see a spun car, Sam Satchwell, sorry Sam, showing how Cadwell can catch out even top 8 drivers. A bit far back here to make the move on the main straight, but we know how fast we are through turn 1, 2 and 3, so we're just going to keep the foot on the throttle, forget about what happened in testing. A little skid, so we look up the inside, we see a gap, probably a little bit late as he was coming across, but we managed to get the move done. I spent the next 4 laps trying to catch up with Adam in front. Adam Walker is a veteran of F1000, having done it for over 16 years. Probably the friendliest guy on the grid. He's also a good driver with a lot of experience. Previous lap, he defended well as we tried to go down here. He moves to the inside to defend again, but we're going to stick it around the outside and see if we can make it work, which we do. We gain another position up to P12. Little dodgy on the exit. 2 laps later, on lap 12, Dan Gore's going slow due to an engine issue. James manages to get in front of him and I get into a little bit of trouble going through the gooseneck, but we managed to get past him and stay on the back of James. We continue to stay on the back of James until the final lap. Here we're coming across one of the other Nitrous cars, the winner of the Nitrous competition, Dane, and we're lapping him. As we're coming round on the final lap of the final section, you can see that Adam's caught up with me and goes for a very bold move at the inside of the mountain, but backs off and doesn't make contact. What a picture that is. Following James through the hall bends, trying to make him make a mistake because I know there's not a chance of an overtake here. He defends the inside well there. Adam goes quite greedy and tries to go for it, which makes him lock up, and actually Dan Gore manages to get back past him, which secures him a 10th place, which is actually, due to the reverse grid, pole for the next race. And we see the checkered flag for race 1. James did a good job of holding me off for the last few laps, so well deserved that 8th place. I was happy with my 9th place finish. So happy in fact that whilst waving to the marshals and thanking them, I took my eye off the circuit and managed to go for a bit of lawn mowing. Due to the reverse grid for top 10, I would be starting in P2 on the front row, next to Dan Gore, previous race winner, Matt Higginson race winner, Craig Pollard race winner, Rob Wellham 22 champion and Tom Gadd 23 champion. Definitely got my work cut out, but Cadwell is the place to keep people behind you. Nearly had a full start but hit the brakes. So we actually got away pretty well in race 2. We stayed in P2 and we had quite a lot of pressure from behind. So my only job here really was to try and stay with Dan, who is a race winner, who's been racing for quite a few years. So I wasn't really sure if I was going to be able to hold on to him, but here we are a lap later. Got James right behind us, but going into turn 1, he's come up the inside. Probably think I'm going to back off, but we hold our line, even if it was going round that same turn that I crashed on the day before. So lap 2, there became a safety car. Unfortunately, going through hall bends here, there was some coolant on the track, and Josh got very unfortunately smashed into the barrier. You see Chris there nearly doing it as well. Really felt bad for him, so it called the safety car out, and it was a bit of a safety car procession as we come back round for another lap, and you see the flatbed out. So again, the coolant on track, I'd love for you to remember that for the final lap. Now, I've never been in this position before, second behind the leader who's about to do a safety car restart. So this is brand new territory for me. And Dan goes there, not really where I expect him to, and gets a pretty good restart and manages to pull quite a bit of a gap in front of me. However, behind me, I did manage to pull a bit on James, so I wasn't under too much pressure. Again, I'm pretty much amazed that I'm still running P2 this far in the race, even though yes, it was a safety car, and I am under a lot of pressure. Still managing to hold position, and Dan's even starting to make mistakes in front. I'm absolutely amazed that I've held on to P2 this long, and even holding on to the gearbox of Dan. Another lap later, we're still flying through. We're actually faster into this bit, and with a little bit of later braking, just have a little look, just trying to feign a mistake here. I don't really see that much of an opportunity to take a move into the mountain. Obviously running in my best position, I didn't really want to take a big risk. I'm not really fighting for P1 in the championship, I just need to be fighting for podiums. So as you can see on the final lap of the race, we're right on Dan, but we miss a gear, so that loses a load of drive, and Craig Pollard managed to go for a brilliant overtake, and absolutely out of nowhere, full send, Matt Higginson goes up the inside of the mountain. I've got Rob Wellham and Tom Gadd behind me, the two F1000 defending champions. We're going through hall bends, only a couple of corners left. Really think I've got P4 in the bag here. It'll take a real idiot to mess this up. So this idiot went into the barrier on the final corner of the final lap, checkered flag in view, whilst running in P4 ahead of two F1000 champions. I do believe there was some coolant on track. Even as I caught it, I ran out of track and became a passenger on the grass. Big thanks to CF Photos here for the external cam in high def and also the slow-mo. A lot of work for the mechanics now to do for the final race in 4 hours. The wheel was completely off, another front wing was mangled. I honestly didn't believe I would get back out on track and that my weekend was done. As a racing driver, I expect to crash, and somehow I've gone 7 race weekends over 13 months, and this was my first big shunt. It sounds ridiculous, but I'm kind of glad to have it out of the way. I've learnt a bit, I'm more composed, and that I can race the fast guys on technical circuits, and the seatbelts do work. So with a loner wing from Ryan Thomas, who wasn't able to make it for the weekend, and a shitload of duct tape, we were ready to get back on track. I was starting in P8, thanks to fastest lap in the race. So a pretty decent start there. It looked like I was actually going to get Dan Gore, but unfortunately not. So Adam's come up the inside of me, and Sam Satchwell has a go, but backs off. Adam was on the inside, but I managed to go round the outside of him. Up ahead, Matt Higginson unfortunately goes straight off onto the grass, over 100 miles an hour, straight into the barrier, which of course brings out the safety car. Race leader decides to go the same place Dan did in the race before. Dan's just ahead of me here. Unfortunately, I didn't get the best restart again, clearly not my forte, but however we don't have any problems from behind. Skipping forward a few laps, we've got Sam Satchwell all over the back of me for the final lap. Now you might remember Sam from our Brands Hatch battle when I was trying to overtake him for 17 laps. It's quite nice to be defending against him. Backing him up slightly, knowing that there's not really anywhere he's going to be able to pass, and that after my race 2 incident on the final corner, I just wanted to take it easy and make sure I crossed the line. So I finished the race in P7, my best performance to date, managing to beat Sam Satchwell, who I was racing against at Brands, showing a bit of respect there and talking about our drive, mostly about maybe backing him up for the final 2 laps, ensuring he can't get by. He said he didn't really think he was going to catch me anyway. Then going to have a chat with Dan, obviously after race 2 where we were battling each other, and then this race as well. He recognised that safety car restarts weren't my thing. Motorsport UK coming to chat to me about the Matt Higginson incident. Wanted to see if I was involved or see if I had any camera footage of the incident.